In 5 days, the biggest gamble in Hollywood hits theaters. $250 million, the first movie ever filmed completely with IMAX cameras. Christopher Nolan, fresh off an Oscar sweep, adapting the most famous story in Western literature. When this project was announced, I thought it couldn't miss. Nolan doesn't miss. But I've watched the trailers. I've read everything coming out of this production. And I have to be honest with you. I have a bad feeling about this. Not about the box office. The presales already crushed the ticketing apps. This thing is going to make a fortune. My bad feeling is about the story. So today on Page to Screen, I want to talk about the 4 decisions that worry me as a novelist. Because every one of them is a mistake we can make on the page too. Let's start with the thing The Guardian pointed out. This movie is a Greek epic devoid of Greek actors. Matt Damon, Tom Holland, Anne Hathaway, Zendaya, Robert Pattinson, Charlize Theron, John Leguizamo, Elliot Page. Not a Greek among them. Now Hollywood has done this forever. Troy did it. Clash of the Titans did it. Twice. But here's what makes it sting in 2026. We just spent a decade being told that representation and casting matters, that who tells the story is part of the story. So what changed? Their sudden silence on it is conspicuous. Take John Leguizamo. He's in this film, playing Odysseus' loyal servant. This is the same actor who publicly campaigned against non-Latino actors taking Latino roles. He had a principle. So where does that principle go when the paycheck says ancient Greece? Apparently it stays home. And that tells you something uncomfortable. In Hollywood, representation is a rule for some stories and a suggestion for others. As writers, we don't get to be that selective. If you built a rule in your story, you have to honor it on every page. Because readers will notice the exception. Hollywood is betting audiences won't notice. We'll see. If you're enjoying this kind of breakdown, hit like and subscribe to Fireside Writer. This channel is where crime and thriller writers figure out story together. And every subscriber gets me closer to making it sustainable. Okay, concern number 2, and this one's personal to my genre. Every reader carries a picture of the character in their head. And when a casting choice breaks that picture, the audience never fully settles into the story. Crime fiction learned this the hard way. When Tom Cruise, who stands 5'7", was cast as Jack Reacher, a character Lee Child built as 6'5" and 250 pounds of menace, the fans revolted. I love that movie, but it doesn't read like a Reacher story. Cruise is a movie star. It didn't matter. The physical fact of the character was the character. And the franchise eventually rebooted with Alan Ritchson because of it. Nolan is walking into that same wind. Elliot Page is playing a Greek soldier who fought through the Trojan War. Page stands 5'1", if you believe the listed height. Ancient warfare was a physical contest of shield walls and spear thrusts, and the audience knows it in their bones the same way Reacher fans knew it. The rumor mill spent months claiming Page was playing Achilles, which turned out to be false. She's reportedly playing Sinon, the soldier behind the Trojan horse deception. A trickster role is a better fit than a warrior's, but the believability question doesn't vanish just because the rumor did. And then there's Travis Scott, a rapper with almost no acting credits, cast as the Bard. Nolan says it's a nod to oral poetry as the ancestor of rap, which is a clever idea in an interview. But on screen, stunt casting has a way of yanking the audience out of it. Every single time the famous face appears, you are sucked out of the world they're trying to build. The lesson for us, your character's physical reality is a promise to the reader. Break it and you spend the rest of the book paying for it. Now the trailers. I've watched it. You've heard the line. Everyone's quoting it, where Pattinson's Antagonist sneers at Telemachus about being a sniveling bastard pining for a daddy. That's modern American trash talk in the mouth of a Bronze Age prince. Nolan is reportedly drawing on Emily Wilson's translation, which famously renders Homer in plain contemporary English, and scholars can argue that choice both ways. On the page, plain language can be refreshing, but an epic lives or dies on the sense that we've left our world for an older and stranger one. Dialogue is the fastest way to build that world and the fastest way to break it. Speaking of breaking worlds, if you want to watch me wrestle with this exact problem in my own thrillers, head over to tjstecker.com and join my newsletter. That's where I share the wins and the faceplants on my road to publication. Link is in the description. Now to my biggest worry of all. Nolan has confirmed the gods of Olympus won't appear as characters. He wants their presence felt through nature and belief instead. Storms instead of Poseidon. omens instead of Athena. I understand the instinct. It's the realism that made Oppenheimer land. But here's the structural problem, and this is the novelist in me talking. The Odyssey's engine is divine wrath. Odysseus blinds the Cyclops, Poseidon takes it personally, and every disaster that follows is the bill coming due. Strip out the gods and you risk turning a story about consequence into a string of unlucky weather. A monster here, a shipwreck there, with nothing binding them into the meaning. In thriller terms, Nolan may have cut his antagonist, and a protagonist without an antagonist isn't a journey. He's just having a very bad commute. So here's my call, on the record 5 days out. The Odyssey will be a commercial monster opening weekend. It may even be a technical marvel, because Nolan always is. But I predict it fails the story. I think we'll be dazzled by the ocean and the Cyclops, but be unable to say what any of it meant, because the choices I just walked through trade all meaning for spectacle. So after a big opening weekend, will the hype continue? I don't think so. This movie might be the biggest flop in history. A tragic Hollywood epic, if you will. Honestly, I'd love to be wrong. And Nolan has made me eat my words before. But this movie is giving me a bad feeling. Here's the takeaway for your manuscript. Every adaptation choice Nolan made has a cousin on your desk, casting against the reader's mental image. Dialogue that breaks the world, cutting the antagonist to seem sophisticated. A $250 million version of a mistake is still a mistake. I'll see this movie opening weekend, and I'll come back here and I'll let you know if I owe Christopher Nolan an apology. So subscribe if you don't want to miss the verdict. And tell me in the comments, what adaptation broke your picture of the character you loved? So until next time, go write something, and I'll see you by the fire.